Have you ever spent, I don't know, a solid 20 minutes just trying to decide what to have for dinner? Or maybe you go to a party, have a great time, but then you need, like, a full day of silence to recover. What if I told you those little quirks aren't actually weaknesses? Well, psychology says they might just be signs of some pretty incredible hidden strengths.
I mean, really think about that question for a second. What if the things you do, the things you might even get a little self-conscious about, are actually your brain operating on a whole other level? What if they're clues to your own personal genius?
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to play detective with our own minds. We're not just going to look at what we do. We're going to dig into the why. What is your mind really trying to tell you with these habits?
Okay, so let's start with traits that are often linked to high intelligence. Now, from the outside, these can sometimes look like you're being indecisive or even anxious, but what's really going on inside your head is something else entirely.
Ah, yes, the classic. You've heard it a million times, right? Just stop overthinking it. Go with the flow. It's always said like overthinking is this fatal flaw, this giant bug in your system. But what if that's completely missing the point? Well, psychology gives us a much better way to look at this. It's not anxiety, it's something called cognitive complexity. Your mind isn't stuck in a loop, it's actually building a highly detailed three-dimensional map of a situation that other people might only see in black and white. And this is exactly what that looks like. You're not just weighing option A versus option B. Oh no. Your mind is already 5 steps ahead, calculating the ripple effects, seeing the hidden connections, and exploring all the long-term possibilities. You see, it's a feature, not a bug.
And you can really see the difference when you break it down like this. On one side, you have that high IQ mindset. It often comes with intellectual humility, the wisdom to realize how much you don't know. But on the other side, you've got what's known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people who don't know much about a topic wildly overestimate how much they do. This leads to cognitive rigidity, where they just can't see the shades of gray.
All right, so how does this super complex inner world affect our social lives? Well, you might be surprised to find out that some of the most intelligent people are also the ones who are perfectly happy being by themselves.
You know that feeling you need to go recharge in a quiet room after a bunch of social stuff? If that's you, you are not alone in wanting to be alone, and psychology has a really clear explanation for why that is.
Look, it's not that you're antisocial. It's that for a mind that's constantly buzzing with ideas, solitude is basically a charging station. Your own inner world is way more interesting than most small talk. That constant chatter can feel like static, and being alone is how you tune it out so you can finally think. It's all about protecting your mental energy.
And that's really the heart of it. People with this trait aren't trying to avoid relationships. They're trying to avoid shallow ones. They actually have a higher standard for connection. They crave conversations that have depth and meaning, so they'll take quality over quantity any day.
This all boils down to a really powerful idea called internal validation. It means your sense of self-worth comes from inside, from your own standards, not from how many likes you get on a post. This is exactly why you might notice these folks aren't super active on social media. They don't need a feed full of hearts to feel good about themselves. They're too busy actually living.
Now, let's shift gears and look at a totally different kind of strength. This one isn't really about IQ, it's about resilience. It's about how a really difficult past can forge an unbelievably powerful and often misunderstood adult.
We all know that person, right? The one who is just a rock. They can handle any crisis, weather any storm, and they never, ever ask for help. We look at them and we admire that strength, that incredible self-sufficiency. But that fierce independence, it often grows from some really deep and sometimes painful roots.
In psychology, there's a term for this, parentification. It's what happens when a child essentially has to become the adult in the room way too soon. When the emotional support they need just isn't there consistently, their brain does something amazing to survive. It adapts. It learns to push its own needs down and become its own protector. This strength wasn't something they were born with, it was forged in the fire of necessity. And you can actually see how this happens, step by step. It starts with that inconsistent support. Then, the brain adapts. It learns to stop expecting to be comforted or rescued. Pretty soon, they stop asking for help altogether and just learn to handle everything, the pain, the problems, completely on their own. It becomes this deeply ingrained survival skill.
This quote right here just nails it. It's not about pride or thinking they're better than everyone else. It's a profound, deep-seated lack of trust that support will actually stick around. They have a hard time accepting help because, in their life's experience, help is temporary. It's unreliable.
So as we start to pull all these threads together, what's the big picture here? All these behaviors we've talked about, the overthinking, the love of solitude, that fierce independence, they are not random. They are brilliant adaptations. Think of your mind as this living, breathing map that's constantly being updated based on the terrain of your life. Every single quirk, every habit, it's a landmark. It's a clue to where you've been. It's a testament to your intelligence, and it's a monument to your incredible resilience. These aren't flaws. They're the chapters of your story. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Now that you can start to see your habits not as flaws, but as a kind of code, what deeper strengths, what hidden stories are you starting to see in yourself? What is your mind trying to tell you?